Alrighty.
Good day.
Good day to you.
How are things?
A-okay.
I don't know where to start. I really don't know. That sounded more important.
From the beginning.
Oh, that's a good piece of advice.
Or from the end. With my ADHD kids, I say start at the end. Got to work backwards, plan backwards, execute forwards.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because they need to see the end in mind. So if you say clean your room, they have no idea. They can't start because they're like, it's too overwhelming. So give them a picture of a clean room, the finished product, and then they can make a plan backwards of how they can make their room look like that.
Interesting.
They need to see the end first. Yep.
You're just a wealth of knowledge, hey?
I am.
Cool. So we've recently been dealing with some social challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And this question comes down to, as parents.
Not me, because I'm like social butterfly.
I don't know if that means what you think it means. You are like the definition of not a social butterfly. I believe the word is introvert. Like, you're so introverted when it comes to social situations. I would say that there's a new you'd be an aggressive introvert. Like, you angrily want to avoid social situations. I don't know why. It's just the way you are. Am I wrong?
No.
If given the opportunity to socialize or not socialize, even if it was like the funnest idea ever, full of fun people and celebrities, how likely are you to think that you'd actually go? Especially if it's past 4 p.m.
Well, what celebrities, though?
See, look, awesome. You're starting already. It doesn't matter. It's the dude from Crimes of Grindelwald. Pick one of them. Mads Mikkelsen. Actually, I go to a party with Mads Mikkelsen. I'm sure he's a fun dude.
Who's he?
He's the new whatchamahooza, the Johnny Depp replacement.
I wouldn't. What? No, no.
You wouldn't hang out with Mads Mikkelsen.
No, I don't know who that is, but no.
He's the Grindelwald.
No.
He was also the bad guy in the first Doctor Strange.
Sure. If it was a fun activity, like if everyone's going to iFly, yeah, I would go because I would to do the activity, not to socialize.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for answering my question. So you don't care about the social component.
Yeah. No, I am, but I'm also scared of dying lonely.
Man, you are just a conundrum wrapped in an enigma.
I'm not lonely now.
I love that you see. I was going to say, I love that you're saying that to your husband in the house we own together with our family.
I know, but forgotten, alone. You know.
And yet, okay, so to put that in perspective, though, you are saying you're going to live to the better part of 120.
15.
Good chance a lot of the people you know now are going to drop off by then.
Maya will still be alive, and probably Willow.
Yeah, there's a good chance, unless something horrific happens. What if the three of us died in a hang gliding accident and you were 114 years old, way down the road reminiscing? How bad would that be? So they didn't live as long as you expect them to live because I took them on a shoddy hang gliding expedition. You guys. And not you. Why would I talk about you?
Why wouldn't I be on the hang gliding trip?
That's true. That is right.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah,
because I'm, out of the three of you, the only one who would actually go hang gliding.
Yeah, it's a dumb sport. You could die.
So much fun. At the ski hill, I want to do it. I'm going to get the girls to do it one day where you can hang glide over the mountain and then you come down on your skis.
Oh, man, that sounds horrifying.
It's awesome. I'm going to do it one day with them.
Pretty confident. I just peed a little bit thinking about it. That's not for me.
I don't think Maya will, but Willow, I could probably convince Willow.
Anything gravity related for me, not my jam. Like where immovable objects can rush towards me and I have zero control. Nope.
You have control over the hang glider.
You realize it's a bed sheet with a metal triangle bar, right?
Yeah, but you move your body.
That's the key. I'd move my body into the ground to be like, well, it's exactly as I expected. This is a crap pastime. Why would I do this?
Land on your skis.
Have you witnessed me actually try to accomplish something like this?
No,
Although I did take snowboarding really quick.
I've never seen you ski before.
Maybe skied and I've snowboarded, and you got angry that I picked up snowboarding so fast.
I've seen you snowboard. I've never seen you ski.
Yeah, actually, now that I think of it, I don't think I've skied with you.
Anyway.
This took a turn. Where were we?
I don't even know.
Oh, aggressive introvert. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, social challenges.
So we've had a couple things bubble up recently where it's raised the question in my mind about when is it appropriate and when is it not appropriate to step in, right? Because we talked in the past about
like bullies. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just don't like that word. That word is so abused.
Okay.
But in this instance, I think it's appropriate.
It's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's well, back to a previous conversation. Any challenge by anyone is seen as being bullied, and it's like no, it's not. Being called stupid when you're doing something stupid is not bullying. It's an observational fact, right? And you need to learn how to address that and go, how do I not be stupid anymore? But we've legitimately had some instances where there was some challenges out and about in the world that led to one of the kids being concerned that she was going to get in trouble for standing up for herself, right? And I didn't feel the need to white knight it. Like I didn't think I had to be calling or anything or doing anything. But at the same time, I also was thinking about it the next day going, maybe I should be reaching out to someone and saying, hey, because there are aspects of it I'm not comfortable with. But I guess the question and what we can talk about is how do you assess the situation in a manner that removes your need to fix something as a parent and really truly look at what is going on and give the best support possible?
Well, it is so tricky because it's essentially there's been in I would say 3 years, 3 boys.
Mm-hmm.
The past 2 years, it's been 1 to the point where Willow's been hurt so bad that she got her ribs cracked, from getting pushed around. These boys are pushing her around, pushed her into a bike rack, So now that boy this year, now they get to take the bus together. They were in elementary together, whatever. But now they're on a bus, a city bus. And not too long ago, just like a couple weeks ago, this one boy was flicking paint at her and got paint all over her. She was actually wearing a nice outfit. She usually wears sweats and stuff, right? But she was dressed up that day, putting stuff in her hair and upset. And then this other boy, we'll say boy number 2, the first boy actually, like he's not in the picture anymore. He's long gone. But this next boy, what was it? Like grabbed her foot and twisted it or something?
Yeah, it was.
She already has like bad ankles. Yeah. Like she's got recurring strains and fractures and stuff.
The issue came from she was trying to save a seat for a friend.
Oh, yes.
And this boy and a couple others took exception to it and started to physically try and intimidate her, right?
And twisted her already hurt ankle.
And then started calling her name, one particular name, right? Was dropping a B word. And she finally had enough and told them to stop. And when they didn't, she's cracked the kid right in the face. And that was what she was worried about.
Because he started crying.
Yes, and said I was going to call the police, or he was going to call the police.
Yeah.
And at some point, they tried to make fun of her about me, which I thought was odd. Where they were chanting whether she was going to bring her dad out to try and intimidate them.
I didn't hear that.
She told me that on the driveway. To which I was laughing of, if that's what you want to have called down, I'm not over intimidating a small child. Like, I'm cool with that. There's zero loss for me because there's no way you can beat me. So I'm not going to be made fun of for losing to a kid and you'll be scared of me for the rest of your life. But she was most concerned that her response, and she said, I know I shouldn't have done it, but I told them to stop and they hurt me and that's what I did. And I said, okay. So what part of this are you scared of? Like, are you scared that we're going to be upset? Or are you scared that you're going to get in trouble from a teacher? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Because she was convinced, this boy was going to go to the principal and tell on her.
Yeah. And my response, right or wrong, was if that happens, you tell the principal to just call me. Mm-hmm. You're not to talk to him. You're not to apologize. You're to tell them to call me. Because I'm going to ask them why my daughter is having to repeatedly defend herself physically from this dude. And one of which wasn't in this situation, but has been in the past, has been suspended every week since school started. Yeah. Why are they still in the picture? Mm-hmm.
And then I feel bad because those are the kids that I work with, that I'm like, oh, like he's probably, and he is like in
Probably,
foster home
yeah.
and like,
And
you
I
know,
and I
and it's
and I
just,
feel for that. But the same thing we've talked to her about is
but
that situation doesn't mean you have to accept being
no, not at all.
assaulted or whatever. And
Yeah.
I don't want to throw around words like that because I think that they're too inflammatory. But at the same time,
when they get this physical,
yeah.
like it's,
And I told her, I've always told her, and you've always told her, you're not expected to put up with being hurt, right? It's one thing for someone to call you names and whatever, and we'll talk about how to get through that situation. But you're never supposed to be okay with getting shoved around or hurt or pushed. And I'm completely fine. I'm not advocating she goes and picks fights. I'm saying that at no point should you ever feel that you can't defend yourself, which is what I feel she did. I probably said a bit too much after that, but at the same time, this kid hasn't approached her again, right? Because that's all you need to do is simply put them in their place and make sure that they realize you can't back down. But back to the original question, is this a situation that warrants further follow-up from us, right? And if so, do we do it or do we let her do it? Because her concern is we're going to stir up trouble and she's going to get in trouble and whatever, right?
Yeah, and this is kind of goes to previous conversations where parents just are always jumping in where, like, what would that do?
Right.
Probably absolutely nothing.
Right.
Anyways, we're just going to get more frustrated. And I've seen it. I mean, sometimes it's been, I think I've shared stories like where parents go to the school and are actually videoing other kids.
Yeah.
And then taking it to the principal. So parents are ratting on other kids and what they're doing, right? Just to get whatever it is. You know, so I do think, and I think we got to look at what's developmentally appropriate at the age they're at. I mean, they're going to be teenagers, right? Or some of them already are teenagers. They're at that time. This is the time where we had started expecting Maya to go talk to her coach if she had a problem with stuff, right? So they do need to learn these. They need to make their own friends. They need to work through all of this. Where there is guides, I see us as contractors, essentially, right? Like that they can come to us for consultations, for our advice, but at the end of the day, they're the ones who have to put it through. But at what line does that get crossed at, right? Like when it starts turning into these physical altercations. But even with the one kid, you know, when she had the fractured ribs, there was nothing we did. I think we did. Well, I didn't, but maybe you did.
I did.
Go and talk, but nothing happened.
No, what they said was and what pissed me off about that, and why I probably up my rhetoric around to stand up for yourself, is she was left feeling as if she had done something wrong.
Yeah. And
when she did bring it up again, in the sense of I can't do laps, like my rib is cracked and I can't breathe, she was made to feel bad about that by the same teacher that was responsible for watching the playground the day she got hurt. And I had to really fight the urge to go and confront that teacher and be like, look, like, it's not okay that you're doing this, right? This kid actually hurt my kid. And I'm not one of those parents to fly off, but that's why I changed to no. If they put hands on you, you put hands on them. It's as simple as that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it is such a hard. I think schools just need to be firmer around the whole bullying. Every school says they have a zero bullying tolerance, but
we know they don't. What they mean by that is we're going to give both kids trouble rather than actually punish the person that's starting it.
And this is what I see, especially the kiddos that I work with. They're usually the impulsive ADHDers who have poor emotion regulation. They're using all their words. They're doing everything that people tell them. Teachers say, parents say, just say no, use your words, tell them no, right? And then walk away. But whenever they do that, the bullies are still pursuing them, and the bullies push buttons and push buttons. It's all that sneaky, quiet until the kid blows up. And then guess who's in trouble, right? It's the kid who blows up, who's just been pushed too far, who tried all of those strategies. So look, okay, I'm talking as a mom, not a psychologist right now, just for everybody here.
Burn it all to the ground. That's what you're going to say, right?
My psychology, would be very PC, use your words, go find an adult, what could we do differently? What did you learn from this last experience? Like even with Willow, right? It's about what can we do so this doesn't happen again? Well, maybe you're not going to save seats. You're not supposed to save seats, right? And so what's a different way to do this? Sitting closer to the bus driver, right? Like maybe there's other things that you can do just to make sure that you're safe, which I think is good. But the mom and me, if it gets to the point, if nobody is going to do anything anyways, us coming in is usually that just instigates it anyways. I don't think parents need to, because it's not going to make a difference at all. Unless, if she wanted us to, maybe we could have that conversation, but she doesn't even. So we collaborate. We sit down and say, what are we going to do from one day to the next? What are we going to do today? What are we going to do? And that's kind of what we've been doing, right? Like talking about it that way. I don't think we need to swoop in. We absolutely need to be there to validate and hold that space for her when she comes home. But yeah, she needs to protect herself. So if that's what it comes to, she's tried all of the other avenues and now she's going to be assertive. I want her to be assertive.
Yeah.
And stand up for herself.
I would agree with that. The end, it's funny because as soon as you started saying the PC psychologist stuff, I got agitated because everything that you're suggesting is for her to put the onus on herself to avoid a situation, but to avoid a situation that she's not creating. Whether she's saving a seat or not, or whether it's supposed to be or not, is no justification for being called the B word and being pushed around and being hurt, right? And frankly,
and it's literally like one seat away. Like it's not like one stop away. It's not even,
Well, this was leaving school. So this was her waiting for her friends to get on the bus to go home.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's not, and that's the other thing. It's not like they were traveling. She got on first and was waiting for a friend so that they could go home. There was 3 of them. Are all 3 of them going to sit in that one seat? No, they're just causing problems. And so part of what I have with that is this comes down to this isn't just kids. This is most people these days. And I've mentioned it before. There is zero threat of repercussion for horrendous behavior, right? Because when someone gets pushed to the point where they blow up or they're aggressive in a response to how they're being treated, both parties are punished. No one looks at it and says, yeah, well, that guy was pushing the buttons and should have been popped in the mouth for being a tool. No one does that because it's like, well, no, you shouldn't have responded that way. Well, no, your kid or this person is being a horrendous person and no one has corrected that behavior. So that's what corrective behavior looks like, right? It's not go think about what you're doing in this, just like telling her, well, the responsibility is yours to no longer be in that situation. This is a horribly large leap. But it is, in my mind, no different than saying, well, why were you wearing that when you got assaulted? Yeah. It's a very similar mindset. Well, what could you do differently that this person's bad behavior might have been minimized? No, that person needs to have repercussions. And that to me that's the only way I get riled up is no. If she wants to sit there and she wants her friends to sit there, I guarantee those kids do the exact same thing. They just don't like her, right? That's what they don't like her. And there's nothing to stop them. Maybe that one kid now that she
they don't cry in front of everybody, yeah.
Yeah, and that to me is the natural ebb and flow. Do I think it needs to escalate beyond that? No. Getting hit by a 12 or 13-year-old isn't life altering, right? It's a shock more than anything else. Do I think that this now needs to be she's packing brass knuckles and throwing fists at everybody? No. But that's what everybody perceives it as but there's a natural ebb and flow. And I've talked about this before is when I was a kid, and I still am, but I know how to control it better. I was very sarcastic. And in a lot of ways, I was quicker with it than a lot of friends that I have. And it becomes a weapon, right? And it wasn't until I felt the repercussions of that I learned how to modify my interaction. Had no one ever corrected that or called me a name or threatened to beat me up or any of those things, I never would have corrected that behavior to really look at how to be a better person. I am not advocating that we have Fight Club for kids, right? Like I'm not saying that, but naturally the social interaction that kids have and the outcomes of that interaction are important teaching tools for them to be a better person. Yeah. Right. There's a story I remember as a, and I'm sure my memory of it is horrible at this point. I've probably changed it a million times in my own head, but there was some incident in high school where a dude and his girlfriend were getting into a fight. And as part of the fight, he shoved her or something, right? Totally unacceptable. Some kid that knew her or had a crush on her or something took exception to it and beat the tar out of the kid that pushed her. Gross overreaction. Like, he really beat this kid. Guaranteed, though, that kid's never going to do it again. Right. And it's that sort of mentality that to be a good person, you sometimes need to be reminded of what it takes to be a good person. Not that it's okay to have emotions and you shouldn't say that and go away and think about it, while you shouldn't do things that elicit that reaction from him. It's not going to work. Right. Yeah. So
it's so hard. Like, I think it's so hard. But
there's no perfect answer either. No. Right? Is the problem.
And we got to, like, I always think too, like, what lessons are we teaching now for later on? Totally. If someone came up to me, and started like pushing me around on the street, I'm not going to say, no, I don't like it. Well, we watched that movie where like the killer one, where she goes back in time.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, nice hands or something.
Yeah,
my body.
Yeah.
And because she goes back to the 80s, right? Yeah. It was awesome. Like, I wanted to take clips of that from the 80s.
Yeah.
Where she's like, oh, my gym teacher, like, no, I'm not feeling gym today. I'm going to pass on this one. She's like, what the F are you talking about? Get in here. Yeah. You're like, there is no passing.
Yeah.
It's gym. And then, my body, like, you can't touch my body. And the bully is, well, I shouldn't keep saying bully, but the guy like picks her up, like, what are you going
to do?
Yeah. And just chucks her. Right. But I'm not going to say, no, like, I don't like that. Please step away. Like, no, I'm going to crack the guy. I'm going to.
And take care of yourself.
To take care and get away.
But the interesting part of the whole interaction that she explained it to me, and I want to be really clear. I understand I'm only hearing one part of this, right? Yep. I understand I don't see all of it, and she could have done more, and I recognize that. And we talked about that, right? And that she needs to be responsible for her own actions. And if there was things that she did that antagonized the situation and led to that point, then she needs to think about that. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that she should be physically concerned. And the response then was still the same. But it really comes down, there was one point in that whole thing, the comment I just made about how one of the kids was teasing her about me. Think that through. This kid felt so comfortable in what they were doing and that there was no threat of repercussions, that me, who by appearance has intimidated fully grown people without meaning to.
People across the street.
People have crossed the street to avoid me. This kid knew there's nothing I can do to him. Mm-hmm. So there's zero fear. Like, it's just such an illustration of that kid knows that there's no way they're getting in trouble for anything they do. Mm-hmm. I have people that I grew up with that I'm still to this day intimidated by their parents, because those parents, you weren't sure if they would or wouldn't murder you if they needed to, right? Yeah. But it's such a telling indication of, it is tough, right? Because I do know some of these kids have situations. I do know that they're dealing with it the best they can. But where my line is drawn is that situation can't negatively impact my kid, right? And that's where I would say it's not appropriate and there needs to be something. But again, you and I talk about a lot about, the things that you try and help kids with. And I see the struggle of some of these kids. Like, I'm more in tune to it now than I ever was. And you can tell the kids that are struggling and you can tell the kids that are acting out. But at the same time, you can just tell the kids that are just jerks, right? And they exist. And
well, in this one, it good family life, like, it isn't, I don't have the same protective feelings around this aggressor just because of...
and again it's to the same point of every situation is unique, but the core component it remains, which is my kid, your kid, their kids should never feel that they are at risk of being physically harmed and they have no recourse, right? But at the same time, we've kind of drifted from the original conversation, but I think we've kind of touched on it, is I don't feel that I need to rush in and talk to the principal or talk to the teacher or talk to anything. If it escalates, absolutely, right? If this is a repeated thing that she finds herself in this situation having to do the same thing, we're going to have a talk about how we change that. But at the same time, she dealt with it for all intents and purposes, right?
And I think she's a strong kid. Like, if I think it might be a different conversation if maybe it was Maya, because she is more timid and would probably just sit there and be a beating pole and not do or say anything. Now she wouldn't be, but I think
back in the day,
if she was younger, I really think she would have. Now she would just kick butt. But
at hearing this story, that was her first response was, "Oh, I wish I was there."
Yeah. She's a tough cookie, but I think we helped raise. See, it's all this resilience building.
We're so good. We're gonna high five before the end of the show. Yeah. All right.
But Pickle just is strong that way anyways. Like, I think she'd have no problem even at 5 years old beating up a 10-year-old
That sounds awful.
if
Like what
they
we
were
just said was our
no,
kid is a
no,
thug.
but like
I know
when
what
she
you mean.
get, like to stand up, and she stood up to mean kids who are mean to other kids, or like when she sees like older kids
She gets
picking on
really
younger
upset.
ones, she gets right in there,
She gets
right
real
in
upset.
there. The one where it gets tricky for her, where she totally just crumbles, it's when an adult is being mean to her.
Yeah.
And that happens, unfortunately. Like,
Well,
even
because
just,
a lot of parents see that assertiveness as you're a bad kid.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're being a bad person, right?
well, a mom just the other day, I know we always have stories, but a mom the other day just pushed Willow
Yeah.
because Willow was standing in her way, and she just literally pushed her. And Willow's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then, see, she does. She folds,
Yeah.
right? She doesn't have any assertiveness with adults.
We have a teacher to take them on next.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's a tricky one. This is a frustrating conversation on so many levels.
Well, because there's no right answer. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that my approach is the right approach. Like Sunny right now is aggressive towards the UPS guy, guaranteed.
Yeah. But anyway, at the end of the day, I do always wonder about the other kids. And I know Willow and I have talked about like the one who did her last year, who's still at her school this year. Like, she does have that understanding of his family life and his background. And she does try to find those moments, but also knows she needs to protect herself, right? And he's actually gotten better. It's just that these other
The one thing I've found as well is, if it's the same kid that I think we're talking about, in the few times that he's tried so far this year, she's been very quick to dismiss him.
Yeah.
And I think that's helped.
Yeah.
Right. He's tried to needle at her about stuff that last year would have bothered her. And she's just been like, "Oh, I'm so glad you told me. I didn't know." Like, and right. And it just, after that, it seemed to just go away because there's zero power in someone over someone that doesn't respond.
Her forehead. Oh, I had no idea. Thank you for telling me.
Oh my God, I can't believe I don't have a mirror at my house, so I didn't know what I looked like. Thank you so much for telling me. And he was just done. You don't come back from that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
Right. And I think she tried that with the other ones and it just escalated. So yeah, it's tricky because I recognize every kid has their own situation. And no kid should ever be sent out of the house thinking that it's Thunderdome and they got to be Mad Max and beat everybody up. But it's a fine line between respecting others and respecting yourself more. And that, I think, is where the balance needs to be struck.
Yeah. I think if it came to a point where we would have to step in, if it was a constant thing that was happening, and now we see her mood change, sleeping change, eating change, school avoidance, we start seeing those signs immediately, we would have to step in and do something.
Yeah.
But for now, kids got to figure it out.
That's right.
Cool beans.
Later.